Hello and welcome back to Wake and Jake with myself and BBD in his Giants blue. No more Zach, thank God. Blah, blah. Awesome NFL wildcard weekend. Capitalized last night by a Giants victory. Talking Giants, they had a watch party in the city. A lot of fun. A lot of football people are crazy. You know. It's just a different breed, right?
It's a whole thing.
Live for Sundays, live for New Year's Eve. That it got pretty wild last night, and for me personally, pseudo bachelor party this weekend. My original dream for the bachelor party, I was like, hey, we're getting kind of old. Let's not drink all weekend. Let's go somewhere warm, play some golf, relax. Stayed in New York City, not warm. No golf. We did go to 5-iron, and we hit some balls. So, in a way, that's golf. Just drank the whole time. Just the entirety from Friday at 7 through last night. Because I don't want to say sucked into Talking Giants watch party. Wanted to go there. A couple guys still hanging out. So, pretty fried, but got to enjoy a really good weekend of NFL football. And we'll pot it. And we'll start out with the first game that kicked on Saturday, 4:30. Niners, Seahawks. Basically, one of the biggest questions of this playoffs is what will Brock Purdy be able to do? Because everything else tells you the 49ers are a Super Bowl team. Their win streak. They're facing the Seahawks in division. BBD already dropped it's hard to beat the same team 3 times. Looking forward to his Giants-Eagles matchup coming up. Spoilers. This was a game when you kind of thought it wasn't going to be. The Niners got out in front, and you're drinking the Kool-Aid a little bit. Purdy did not look good early. And especially then it catches up with them. And then the Seahawks are doing the damn thing. They have the lead at halftime. 17-16. There's a couple games. We'll get to the Dolphins-Bills game in a little bit. But it kind of had the same energy that it was like, no way, right? And luckily for Niners fans, it was no way. And the stuff that got highlighted, the Debo touchdown, early Wake and Jake Bakers, remember my infatuation with Debo was forming. Just the way he runs. I had the highlight just pop up in front of me, and he's mesmerizing, man. It's a little bit, know how when quarterbacks scramble and it kind of looks different? It's like a running back scrambling, but in a running back's body, and he's one of the best wide receivers in football. It's still nuts when it all comes together for him. McCaffrey is a freak. 15 for 119 on the ground. How hard that guy runs is nuts. And the Niners, man, 18-1 at home. 18-1. 8-1 at home coming into this game. Imagine. Would have been a hell of a leg up. And I mean, I think you need to be honest about the Seahawks. DK Metcalf, nasty. He's had a couple huge playoff games and limited playoff experience. 10 catches, 136 and 2. He's the only guy you really game plan for against that team. To be honest, Tyler Lockett always finds a way to get open here and there, but DK's the guy that can hurt you. Talent-wise, and I'll save some of this, I guess, in a positive light for the G-men. I mean, the Seahawks, Geno Smith, who coming into the year, I mean, a lot of people probably would have thought Geno was like out of like playing football. Like even if you followed, you'd be like, well,
like, oh, well, he's a backup at this point, a nice one to have.
Yeah, I mean, with Geno from the Jets, he had an awesome year. But Geno Smith, Kenneth Walker, who's an okay young running back, but still, that's not.
Lost a little steam from his early season breakout.
On the other side of the field, Christian McCaffrey, Deebo Samuel, Ayuk, Kittle, Elijah Mitchell is a good running back. He doesn't get the ball a lot because there's a lot of other guys.
Just doesn't matter, kind of.
Ayuk, man. Ayuk cracks me up because I feel like he has these games. And yesterday, 3 catches for 73, all big plays. I feel like there's 3 weeks a year when the other team clearly says, like, we're cutting down McCaffrey, Samuel, and Kittle. And then Ayuk's just open, and he has, I don't know, this year he had a couple huge days. He had two touchdown days.
He was a first-round receiver.
Yeah.
It's like not supposed to be a surprise.
Christian Kirk, who ended up on the Jaguars and was like a controversial offseason free agent signing, like, if those two guys both hit free agency at the same time, I think you'd take Ayuk. Christian Kirk got the bag. Niners end up rolling. The game was close through the halftime. Geno, strip sack, INT, and they would have had to play a perfect game. Brock Purdy, final line, 18 for 30, 3 touchdowns, 0 interceptions. Only got sacked once. The more and more as the playoff picture starts to unfurl, Brock Purdy was the question. It looked like he had a little bit of playoff legs. Looked like he shook it off. And the Niners roll. They win 41-23. They cover, which means a lot to a lot of different people. And especially at the DraftKings Sportsbook, I was giving out some Giants winners yesterday. BBD said he's got a little DraftKings story. DraftKings, they are going to be rolling on to the divisional round, some people's favorite weekend of football of the year. And with DraftKings, the official sports betting partner of the NFL, you can bet $5 and get 200 in free bonus bets instantly for new customers. Former roommate Jeff, Floorball Jeff, as some of you may know, downloaded the DraftKings app this weekend. Saquon 2 touchdowns hit. Now he's all about it. He's rich now, so we'll never see him again.
That's really nice to hear.
Yeah. So download the DraftKings Sportsbook app now and use code BAKERS. New customers can bet $5 on the NFL divisional round and get 200 in bonus bets instantly only at DraftKings Sportsbook with code BAKERS. Minimum age and eligibility restrictions apply. See show notes for details. What was your story, Beebs?
Did one of those. It's kind of I guess it's a Jimmy style bet. Just parlay a bunch of things pretty likely to happen. Go grab some minimum overs.
Sure.
I was and we fell into that formula a little bit last year. It's like pick a guy to score, pick a winner, grab a couple
minimal
passing yards or receiving yards. And I was prepared to be kind of upset because the guy I picked to score, I picked a Daniel Jones touchdown. They had one wiped off the board, and then I was prepared to be mad about that. Then I was like, oh, Richie James 4 yards short of his minimum that I was excited about because he was down the stretch like a consistent like 45 yards, just always getting those third downs guy. And that role just never fully happened yesterday. I finished with 31 when I needed 35. And I was going to be really mad about those two things being what cut me short. And then I was like, oh, Justin Jefferson had 47 yards, and that was nowhere near the line I had on him. So I'm okay.
So just a miss.
Just a miss.
Just
but I had like 7 things, and the others all hit.
It was for some reason, it was a Talking Giants watch party. I shouldn't say for some reason, but the popular bet was Saquon to score yesterday. So a lot of the people were hype about that. But we'll get there in a minute. First, we got to chew through my Jaguars versus my Chargers in what looked like it was going to be horrific. Trevor Lawrence, evolving, came together. They win the pseudo playoff game last week, right? Oh, boy. 3 interceptions, basically as quick as you can do them. And, man, you're like, I think everyone, it wasn't a consensus, but we know the deal. The Chargers are super talented. You've heard my full turn on Staley. I've loved Herbert. That whole roster, we do it with baseball a lot. If the Texas Rangers were the Boston Red Sox, I think there'd be a ton of Red Sox hype. There's not really a lot of Texas Rangers hype. Everyone's like, let's see.
They should be better this year.
They'll be better. The Chargers, and they have this stigma to them a little bit. I mean, going back to Phillip Rivers and a couple of those teams, it always just kind of felt underachieving. It feels like we've always liked the Chargers. The Chargers go up 27-0 in Duval. And man, with how bad Trevor Lawrence looked, and, that we're talking, going back to the talent conversation, tying it to the Seahawks, Niners, Chargers, Jags. Austin Eckler might be #1 fantasy pick next year. He's pretty well known in the football realm for what he's done. He wasn't flashy for a long time, but he's kind of a stud. Justin Herbert, people drool over him. I'm one of them. Keenan Allen, you've known him for a while. Mike Williams didn't play because he got hurt in a game that didn't matter for the Chargers last week. And they've got a ton of dudes on defense, where the Jags, Trevor Lawrence has evolved, and him and Etienne, the running back, they're teammates at Clemson, so you kind of know that. Evan Ingram, I mean, some recycled Giants good, although he puts up a big game. I just talked about Christian Kirk. A guy who felt like the third receiver in Arizona, a good Arizona offense. Zay Jones is kind of a retread. Marvin Jones Jr., how about that?
Still going.
That you're doing all right, well, this was the playoffs. Maybe it's Herbert's season, and we'll get the Chargers hype train going. Another sports gambling story. I mentioned that I was with a group of guys drinking all weekend, so there was a lot of sports bets placed. All the boys were jagging off. We placed. I hit the Jaguars when they were down. What was it? 24-0. A couple other fellas got it there. Momentum's a real thing in sports, and the Jaguars at home scoring a touchdown before the end of the half was massive. It was a sign of hope. It was, okay, we can do this. It's not going to be a complete melt from Trevor Lawrence, but is it going to be enough? They stop him. First drive out of the half, Chargers ball. They get stopped. 14-play drive, touchdown for the Jaguars. Chargers get a field goal. 5 plays, touchdown. Missed field goal for the Chargers. 14 plays, touchdown. It's 30-28. That was it. Jaguars put the final drive together. Chargers 3 plays, 5 yards to get stopped again. My goodness, including a sack. Jags come down, kick the field goal. We live in a time of NFL offense that basically records will be broken. We saw it on Thanksgiving, literally the biggest comeback in NFL history. That 27 points is just, it's,
can't let up.
Back in the day when you handed it off to Jerome Bettis 2 out of 3 plays, or Emmitt Smith, yeah, we were chewing clock. We weren't ripping off those big boy plays. It's a different sport now. It feels like any number is kind of in reach. And it was in a playoff game. Staley, he had a couple moments in this game. I think the bigger thing, and where I get to take a little bit of a victory lap on this, is just players know. Players are smart. They shouldn't have been playing last week. Mike Williams should have been out there. One of the, you can't do an argument for best receiver in football, but one of the bigger, freak show bail you out wide receivers in football. If everything's locked up and that guy's in one-on-one or even not one-on-one, you throw it up there.
Chance.
He's pulled some stuff down, man. That guy wasn't on the field with this team, and as that momentum starts to go and go and go, Trevor Lawrence gets a little more confidence. Duval's rocking. And they get it done. And, man, happy for the Jaguars. happy for myself with the Brandon Staley stuff because for some of the football stuff, as I've told you guys, like, I don't know. It's a lot. I shouldn't say it's a lot more fan perspective because that's also what we're doing in baseball. But have a little better grasp of playing and pitch sequencing than, NFL play calling. And that's just my experience. I don't know, man. I just kind of had you guys know them as my shower thoughts. I think there's going to be an argument in a few years. It's how much I like Herbert. And he missed a couple throws. And, he had the rib thing earlier in the year. He shouldn't go fully unscathed from this. Or at least let's see what happens next. I think there's going to be a time when we look back at Brandon Staley and we're just like, that dude was not it. Because the Chargers' talent is flat out there. And when I was putting all that in the blender, it came back to one thing, and it was Staley. And I don't know. I think the spotlight is obviously going to be on him now more than ever, blowing a huge, huge playoff lead. And good for Trevor Lawrence and the Jags as they continue to build up the program there. Tough matchup for them next week, going to Kansas City. But, the Chargers on paper, if they were playing Kansas City, I think we'd be like, yeah, like they can go shot. They go toe-to-toe with them. Jaguars kind of can't. I mean, it's the NFL. Anything can happen. Blah, blah, blah. Get it.
One game.
Bills-Dolphins. Sure. Chargers, man. The boys had a good time, though. We won some money on that one. And that was the other kind of nice thing of this weekend. Outside of Bills-Dolphins and New York Giants, because at this point I do have a bias, the weekend played out pretty true to what I had thought or kind of believed. I mean, we'll get to Bengals-Baltimore at the end. That one, as I alluded to, a lot of old divisional stuff there and guys that have bumped heads a lot, and that game could have gone either way, and it looked like it was heading one way until absolute chaos, which I've got a fun story about that. Let's go on.
What's coming up?
Let's go on to Sunday. Again, body falling apart on the line. And we start out Dolphins-Bills, and this is the one I alluded to that this was the one that was kind of different from the script. I guess tonight's game, I also don't know the script. We talked about it a lot. Brady and the Bucks and the Cowboys. We'll see what happens
there.
there.
First playoff game of a season. Done.
Dolphins-Bills. Dolphins playing with their 7th-round quarterback, Skylar Thompson. Bills, the whole storyline that's been there. DeMar Hamlin was not in the building. I assumed he would be. That's fine. Get better, obviously. I don't know. Bills go up 14-0, and you're like, this is what I expected. It was a 13-point spread. How ugly is this going to get? Credit to the Dolphins, man. Easily the most counted out team this weekend. And rightfully so. I mean, you're on a 3rd-string quarterback playing against probably the Super Bowl favorites coming into the year, who, 13-3, their storyline is obviously intense and, not a storyline they asked for, but it's part of their season now. Bills 17-0 after they kicked the field goal. And Miami, field goal, interception, touchdown. It's 17-17. The Bills do flex, part of the reason they're so special. They get the ball back 6 plays in 29 seconds to get a field goal to keep the lead. I do think that was massive for them. And I don't want to say it ends up being the difference because obviously the game plays out to the score a little bit. Fumble touchdown coming out of the half. The Dolphins are up 24-20. Everyone was just kind of looking around like this isn't how the script works, right?
We're not doing this.
No, right? We're not doing this, man. And we ended up it wasn't pretty. I mean, the Dolphins end up scoring a nice 11 play drive finished by Jeff Wilson Jr. But then we've got 3 straight punts. Dolphins have it back. They lose it on downs. That's the end of the game. But, man, this was the one that was off script or felt like off script this weekend from what you thought the script could be. You have to give a little credit to the Dolphins. A lot of the gossip at the bar, and again, guys drinking and sports gambling, was that the Bills, sports gambling-wise, had felt underwhelming to a few of my buddies this year. I don't know. I mean, it's a lot of big spreads when you're one of the elite teams like that. I think there was a little bit of divisional Skylar Thompson. This game is not what the Bills' season is about anymore, especially as we get the Bills-Bengals game next week. I mean, my goodness. Talk about your NFL scripts. This was the one that was off. As you guys know, I was tough on Tua and the Dolphins this year. Obviously not going to take a victory lap on Skylar Thompson, the 7th-round pick, losing to Buffalo. The fight they showed in this game was impressive. McDaniel as a head coach is an absolute win. And by this point, like, I'm rooting for Tua. I mean, the concussion stuff and the way he got beat up, I knock on wood, hope he's back, and hope I can be more wrong on that next year. But for now, the Bills advanced. But yeah, you kind of thought the whole playoffs was going to get jacked up by that because, we've done all of this now. We've done the neutral home field. If they get to the Chiefs, we're getting the Bengals game. Felt like the script was broken for a little bit. Bills move on, which brings us to Mr. Purple. That was the bar in New York City that the Talking Giants watch party was at. It's a good time, good setup. It's kind of like I think it's normally like a cool boy bar.
It's a fun young bar, I think.
There's a pool there and stuff that, like, I think, if you were young and in the city, you might end up there on a Friday or Saturday night. Sunday night in the winter, basically we had the space. 200
big night for them, I guess.
200 people or so. Really awesome, good people. And yeah, I mean, it's some nervous energy. We did it with our Yankees live streams, and you're like, I hope we get a good game. Hope they win. I mean, my God, we had the Guardians walk off. That was crazy against Clark Schmidt. Yes. And the talent thing that I'm, again, circling on. The New York Giants and the Vikings played a game that was close. The Giants, talent-wise, I mean, the Vikings' talent with Justin Jefferson, Dalvin Cook, Hawkinson, Thielen, I mean, that's closer to the Niners. The Giants, I mean, that's closer to your Seahawks. I mean,
they have Saquon, and then it's yeah.
And I mean, the Saquon thing we've talked about a little bit. I mean, this is year 5 now. Like
yes,
2018 he was drafted. I mean, Saquon, the thighs coming out of Penn State, what a freak. Like, I don't know. I think there's a lot of, I shouldn't say newer NFL fans, but there's some people that don't remember what Saquon was when he initially came out and was this special, different running back in a time when a lot of people said you don't take a running back.
People kind of forget that obviously you can debate taking him second, but it worked. Like, he was being very special in the NFL pre-injury.
Hodgins, Slayton, Richie James, Daniel Bellinger. I love Daboll, and we were kind of going to find out, right? Vikings tall head coach, Kevin O'Connell. I said I'd call him his name because he was just too tall and handsome. They earned the credit. They marched down the field opening drive, and it's kind of like, okay, the Vikings that have been one of the most debated teams in football this year, 13-4, minus point differential, winning all the close games. You got to give them credit for winning games, right? Like, this is the NFL. everyone was kind of on the scent that they were not who we thought they were. But, man, a 12-play drive to open up. Just like very easy third down conversions. In Minnesota, Giants march back down. Same thing. Ends with Saquon, 28-yard rush. Mr. Purple's going bananas. The boys believe. Three and done. They get the ball back. 4 plays. Hodgins from Danny Dimes. It's 14-7. 17-7. Vikes get the touchdown before the half. 17-14. Again, nervous energy. A lot of Giants fans. The fact that you're in it. You know, people were feeling that. Because there's a chance, right? Like, we could have easily come in and you're saying Vikings are up 24-7 at the half. Justin Jefferson had 2 scores. You know, that's in Minnesota. Giants had a fumble, and that could have been it.
That could have easily been the story.
They get the ball to start the second half, and they drive down for another touchdown. Danny Dimes to Bellinger. Daniel Jones looked very good all day. You know, a lot of people that aren't as close to the situation, I had some of my buddies joking. You know, I have a group of friends in Oklahoma. I call them my Oklahoma friends. That they were all very impressed by Daniel Jones. Everyone has the image of Daniel Jones as like, kind of not that good. You know, he is an athlete. Like when he runs and he had that one stiff arm, I mean, that had the place going bananas. That's when you realize football people are different. The crowd was getting rowdy. That being said, it's tied at 24. The Giants do it again, and they drive 12 plays. Another touchdown. Saquon second. Mentioned roommate Jeff. DraftKings on the board with that. And then the defense holds. And everyone, as this game built, and coming into it, the Giants had no injury report. Everyone was all hype about that. They're going to have dudes on defense. This defense might look better than it had. Man, you know, Kirk's stat line ends up looking okay. 31-39, 2 touchdowns, no INTs. But it's the thing with Kirk Cousins that sometimes the numbers can lie a little bit. And if you see him on 4th down, throwing to the tight end in the flat, when you need a 4th and 8 when your season on the line, I mean, as a Vikings fan, that's got to drive you insane. Insane. Because it just never had a chance. I think this is a credit to Brian Daboll, the Giants coaching staff. It was you talk about the perfect draw. The Vikings, I mean, they're not a 13-4 team. And everyone was on it all year. And I, again, giving myself some pats on the back today. Everything ended up leveling out this year. The teams that you thought, the Vikings, kind of the Dolphins. You know, Dolphins had more injury stuff, but all year the debate was the Vikings. People were like, I don't.
They're not this good.
They're not that, and they're not. You're right.
like coming into the year, where they were like the fun. Like, oh yeah, if it clicks, they'll be a team you don't want to face in the playoffs, but.
And that's the other team was the Eagles, who, you know, they still look like they are the guys. We'll find out. As I was doing playoff storylines, I mean, you know, Jalen Hurts and the boys got to go out and win some big ones now, especially as they will face the G-men. The Giants win. Awesome scene in Mr. Purple. Happy for the Talking Giants guys. Go listen to them. I know I've been teasing Pennick for a little while. We definitely need to get him. Maybe we'll even find some time tomorrow to carve something out. Happy for them. They've been in the grind for a while for some bad Giants teams. The New York Giants win a playoff game this year. Everyone kind of assumed it was going to be Danny Dimes last year. They declined the option. What's going to happen with Saquon? For now, we don't care. Isaiah Hodgins, 8 for 105 and a touchdown. What he's been doing recently, I have to eat some crow on that. I was telling Giants fans, go get a wide receiver because you might get a playoff matchup with the Vikings, and you might be able to win a playoff game this year. They didn't need it. Interested to see what happens with tall, handsome Vikings head coach Kevin O'Connell next. And Kirk, and just what comes of the Vikings. You're not going to shoot down their 13-4 year as a failure, but what we thought would happen in the playoffs ended up happening in the playoffs. So sorry to my Vikings fans, but a lot of Giants fans around us these days. Pretty unreal to see. Canobio having a good time.
Always does.
Always. Joe's, Lou.
I thought I saw Lou Dab.
Lou Dab was dabbing. And again, potential scripts. I mentioned, this game could have easily went the other way, but this kind of played out what the Giants script would be to win. With maybe a little boost. The offense was good. I mean,
like across the board, especially specifically Daniel Jones and Saquon played like a perfect game on offense. As close as you can get.
Wasn't their whole thing they hadn't scored 30 points?
It was like 3 years or something since the last time they scored 30 points.
They did a couple weeks ago.
They did it in the playoff clincher.
In the playoff game in Minnesota. Maybe if you believe in other sports stuff, New York and Minnesota, Vikings, 41-0. There's a lot of talk about that beforehand. I don't know. I think it was a Kirk Cousins and a Vikings team that didn't feel like 13-4. There was a little bit of blood in the water. And Daboll's a flat-out dude. Like, he is climbing the head coaching rankings. Look, Daniel Jones was looked at as, like, done.
Broken. Like,
not good.
Like, he was looking like he was heading towards being a career backup.
Yeah.
Like he could stick around as a backup.
Right, because he could come in, he could run a little bit.
He's a bright guy, and he's got some tools. So
nice fella.
If someone gets hurt on your team, you can give it to him. No, he's good with a little bit of good coaching. You talk yourself into. I mean, for next, they're still playing, so not even talking about next year. But I'm talking about next. You talk yourself into if they draft another receiver, trade for Hopkins or whoever, you get real tools around them with this coaching staff. Don't lose Mike Kafka. You get to a very, very fun place.
301 yards, 2 touchdowns, no interceptions, 17 carries for 78 yards. I mean, that's a big boy game.
Like I think I've never gone and looked specifically at his rushing game logs, but he's closer to more of those than I think anybody wants to give him credit for. He's a very, very smart, very good runner.
I mean, this is a Josh Allen game. Like, it's a Josh Allen game who Daboll coached him up.
His tools are, I think, closer to a Josh Allen than anyone ever would give him credit for. Not saying he's that,
right?
But
no, I mean,
closer to that than anyone.
He doesn't have the power running like Allen has,
anyone
but
was
he
ready for that.
He has more speed than him, and when he's throwing the ball like that,
and just frankly, not to shit talk the Vikings while they're. It was nice to be on the other end of like a not just straight up bad team making just weird choices.
Yeah,
that third down Cousins pass play is the one that sticks out the most. But but there were a few of those. That like, that's what they ran.
Yeah,
that's the play they picked. And I haven't been on that side of like a team that's supposed to be good doing something like that. And I don't know when. You play bad teams and that happens.
Lou or Joe's was very much saying the game was over after that play. The 3rd and 1.
As long as we don't fuck that up after, like
sometimes football can be not as complicated as give it to Dalvin Cook because he's good. The last game, and like I mentioned, basically a couple-day bender. Giants win. We're celebrating. You know, the tech guys are cleaning up rounds and pounds. Me and Jeffrey, former roommate Jeff, we hit the streets. There's a karaoke place. We stopped in there. Nice. Sungmin Kim was there.
Wow.
How about that?
Just happened to run into him?
Just happened to run into him.
That's great.
And then we heard some people were going to a Bengals bar, Phoebe's, which I'm familiar with. I know it as a kid's bar. If you're young and chasing the night, I know a lot of people have ended up at Phoebe's before. Apparently, it's a big Bengals bar. Me and former roommate Jeff walked in right as the 98-yard fumble recovery touchdown was happening. That just changed the whole scope of that game. And man,
I haven't seen one like that.
I mean, brutal. Like I said, with division game, I mean, this game was 10-9 at the half. Bengals-Ravens. There's some things about sports that I think when I originally started doing Wagon Jake, I started talking myself into it. You believe in stuff. And like this division, the Ravens, the Bengals, the Steelers, it's always like almost that scary level of physical that we don't like in football anymore. Like it's like guys biting ankles and like be careful over the middle. Like it's that level somehow in today's NFL. And man, for the Ravens who have been without Lamar Jackson for over a month, this is a Huntley game. You guys have kind of schemed up. You know, it's 17-17. You're driving to have that play go like that as he tries to go over the top. Ball gets poked out. There's nobody back there. The Bengals are running wild. Hubbard, who's like so beloved in that town, being the guy. Phoebes went nuts. Nobody else. I thought I was seeing some John Boy Media people there. Nobody else was there except Mitch. Big Bengals.
I was like, I thought I saw him at Bengals bar. Is there another one?
So I don't know. We were kind of just like huddled together way too tight for a little bit. And then got scared and got out of there. So I'm going to be honest with you. Don't have the kind of analysis I'd like for Bengals-Ravens coming off a long weekend and a long day. But again, if that goes slightly different, I've been on a big Joe Burrow kick recently. Like the Bengals are 12-4. 2 of those losses were the first 2 weeks of the season, and they weren't taking games seriously. They openly talked about that. I've been doing in my head, should Joe Burrow and Josh Allen be more of a discussion? Like everyone fell in love with Josh Allen because he's a freak, and he was kind of the guy that looked like he was rivaling Mahomes. Burrow, I've done it with LSU, and go back. It wasn't Coach O. It was a lot of Burrow, Jefferson, Chase. They had a ton of dudes on that team, but Burrow, he was a quarterback. He goes on. He takes the Bengals. LSU, who they're a good college program. I mean, they show up in a national title every decade or so, but he's the reason for that one. The Bengals were a laughing stock. Like, the Ocho Cinco Hushmanzada years were fun, but the Cincinnati Bengals,
couple one and done in the playoff years in there when they were like kind of competent, but
the Bungles, man. I mean, they're like a really good NFL team now. And now they're going to face off Burrow versus Allen, and that was kind of going to be my thing. It was going into the Damar Hamlin game. That if the Bengals won that game, which who knows, it was in Buffalo. They're both two good teams. I guess we're going to find out with bigger stakes. That Joe Burrow would have like a fantastic argument for being better than Josh Allen, and nobody says that. I don't know if I'm saying that, but if we're adding more stuff to the recipe here, Brian Daboll, pretty good coach. We all just agreed on that. He used to be the coach in Buffalo. Offensive head coach. Josh Allen and the boys. Tough weekend, not as clean versus Miami, but like I said, they're looking at bigger things. I don't know. If Joe Burrow and the Bengals go into Buffalo and win next weekend, put those two resumes down and Burrow would have them beat. So that hasn't happened yet. And the Bengals could have lost this game to Tyler Huntley, where then my Joe Burrow speech would have felt very differently, right? Bengals win. Fun weekend of football.
Still one more game of it.
Still one more tonight. I still don't know what I feel. Just looking at the 8 and 9 Bucks. But it's in Tampa. And either way, I was gonna see if I could sniff out some NFL funny business of what's supposed to happen. The winner of this game faces the 49ers, who, you know, an iconic NFL team, 90s dynasty. You run into a lot of Niners fans. The color scheme works. They're good. Dallas Cowboys, America's team. I mean, Cowboys, Niners. There's nostalgia there. There's everything. Tom Brady. Whole thing is the Niners, and he was supposed to end up there, and he's always been a Niners guy. So the NFL's already got that on lock.
Either way, they're cool with this.
They're having a good time. It's just really, have the Bucs been saving anything all year? I mean, after the speeches I just gave about the Vikings and the Dolphins, I guess my heart would have to tell me the Cowboys have to be better than that. I don't know. Interested to see what you've got in store for us tonight, NFL. It was a good weekend.
Saw just a lot of Cowboys commiserating after the Giants win. I saw on Twitter where people were like, "Well, Cowboys were like actually good, and they have to face Tom Brady." And
yeah,
the Giants were throwing mid allegations out there, and they luck into Minnesota, and that's just sports.
Hey, it's a little bit playing the result, I think, but is there not an argument? If you ask teams, would you rather play in Tampa versus Tom Brady and the 8 and 9 Bucks, or would you rather face the Minnesota Vikings in Minnesota with Kirk Cousins? I think it's open to discussion, which for a 13 and 4 team and an 8 and 9 team, it should not be. I think it is.
And there is like the Buccaneers are a veteran enough team that like can happen, and they figure it out as the year goes on. Like kind of did. I guess they never fully went because they still finished below 500. But you just trust them?
Were they building up for something? It hasn't felt like it at all.
But now they're here.
A team that lost what ended up being a close games to the Rams last year before they went on their run. By the way, I guess I'll just let this out. Trevor Plouffe just playing tennis with Stafford.
Yeah.
Like, what?
They're just very close.
They're just tennis buddies. I don't know. I think we'll end it. Lot of football. There wasn't too much baseball news. We are doing a Talking Baseball. We'll see you guys over there. And we'll see you in the middle of this week with some baseball and some football as we run into another good weekend of it. I'm going to go sleep. Bye.